Hello, everyone, and welcome to the last day of Adobe Live's holiday week. My name is Megan Billy, and I'm here with April Finfrock. Hi, April. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for joining us. This is actually our last day of the whole year live streaming, so super excited about today. It is all holiday themed, starting with April. We'll be talking about package design, which we'll get into a little bit. Then we'll go into some 3D photo compositing later in the day, wallpapers, ornaments, paper dolls. We've got a lot of fun things coming up today, so stick around. April, hello.
Hey.
Why don't you get started by telling us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you're going to be working on today?
Definitely. Yeah, so I'm April. I would say I'm definitely more of an illustrator, but I also like to do design work. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be showing today. Here's my Instagram. It's April Finfrock without the O. I made this little like Adobe Live post illustration. I mostly work on my iPad and then I'll bring it into Illustrator and kind of work on it there. So that was really
This is
fun.
so
It's
cute.
it's like a little like Santa just streaming on the computer. And
Have you seen
then,
our Yule logs that we do every year? This is giving
oh,
me Yule logs
yeah,
vibe.
yeah, like the
Do
animated
that
ones.
next year. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
So
and
mostly you're working on your iPad, drawing, and then you take things into Illustrator. Is that what you were saying?
yep, yeah, and I'll like vectorize it there and color them in Illustrator. But yeah,
Cool. And where are you located? What's your deal? What are you doing? Are you in school? What? Give us a little bit more about
sorry.
April.
Yeah, I'm around Philly, probably like 40 minutes north of Philly. I actually just graduated from the Tyler School of Art and Architecture in May. So I'm like freshly out of school and just kind of like figuring out how to be a designer like on my own. And like trying to figure out how to get the self-motivation to do like this kind of design work and having opportunities like this is awesome because I'm like getting more experience doing stuff. So that's cool.
Well, congrats on graduating. That's very
Thank you.
exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into what you're going to be working on a
Yep.
little bit today.
All right, cool. So here I have kind of like the concept inspiration for what I want to do. So I was trying to think, I didn't want to do something that was like overly Christmassy in your face, like holly jolly. So I was like, Yule is like a celebration of the winter solstice. So I was like, oh, that's like kind of Christmassy, but not exactly like in your face. So we have this like kind of mood board. It still
Okay.
has like the reds and the greens. So that's like the Christmassy kind of vibe. And it's also a lot like Yule, the celebration is a bit more like crafty, like these homemade orange ornaments and these little decorative elements. So I was like, oh, what's a packaging design that could kind of go with that vibe? So I thought of jam. And you have like holiday like baking and cookies, and you could use jam for those. So I was like, oh, that'd be a cool idea. Um,
Great, great inspiration. I
yeah.
love the holidays with all of the fruits and stuff. My
Yeah.
favorite is like the pie. Have you ever made like
Oh.
orange pie or like apple
No, I
pie?
haven't. I don't know. I don't really like pie for some reason.
Oh my gosh. Well, we can use your jam to make
Oh,
pie
there we
after
go. Yeah.
this. Okay,
Um,
cool. So keep going.
yeah. Here's like some sketches I just roughly do. I put them over top of the whatever I want to package. Like I'll find the mock-up first and then just sketch over so I kind of have the composition right. But pretty roughed in. And I'll do my illustrations in the on the iPad with the pencil. If I
Okay.
have like a Wacom or something, or I think it's Wacom or Wacom, that's like a tablet you could use to go directly into Illustrator, but I don't have that yet, so I'm just working with a pencil. But yeah,
Work with
so
what you
just
got. Nice.
yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm going to be showing today is how I bring those from my iPad into Illustrator.
Cool,
Um,
cool. Before you get started, just want to say hi to everyone in the chat. We have Tara, Adara, lots of people. We are live, so go ahead and drop any questions that you have for April in the chat, and we'll make sure that those get answered, both the Behance chat and the YouTube chat. We are here for you. So cool. Let's get into your process a little bit, April. I'm super excited to see this.
awesome, cool. So yeah, to start, I'm just going to put a gray background on just so I can kind of like see the label a little better. Um, put that. All
And
right,
when
so
you're
it's
working on your iPad, question for you. When you're working on your iPad, are you working on Illustrator or are you working on Fresco or what do you start with on your iPad?
um I sometimes I'll use I don't know if I could say what yeah
The other things, yeah.
the
The
other
other
mouse tool. No, but
one.
I'll
Okay, cool.
yeah. But all right, so to
And
set
then
it
you
back,
bring it onto your computer after that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Okay,
No, and
cool.
that makes it awesome because you could vectorize within Illustrator, which
Yeah.
makes it like sizable for your design work. Because when I do it on the iPad, if you like enlarge it or make it smaller, it's gonna mess with like the pixels and make it all blurry. So that's why putting it
Mm,
in Illustrator is perfect for that. So I'm
great.
gonna hit arrange and send it back. All right. All right. Well, that's just great. Let's see. Um, Also, I'm just gonna hit unlock all to grab these and bring it to the front, bring to front, and then get my background and arrange, send it back. All right, perfect. And I'm just gonna make it gray so we can see it. All right, perfect. So now we have our like layout for what we're doing. To start, I'm going to add my brand name, which I just came up with Yuletide as the brand name. I was like, I was just trying to think of like a fun, this is just a made up like packaging. So I was like, oh, Yuletide, that's kind of fun. And the font I'm going to be using is called Texturina. So I'm going to type that in.
This is
Texturina.
great to like build your portfolio since you're just out of school, like working on
Yeah.
fun projects like this where you're really just ideating from start to finish and
Mhm.
building out your portfolio. This is great.
No, definitely. Yeah, and I like just started kind of getting into packaging. So I was like, and I feel like packaging is a good way to incorporate my illustration stuff. So I'm trying
Yeah.
that out. Also, all right, so yeah, so now I have that done. I'm not gonna really go into color until like I get there, so I'm just gonna leave that black for now.
Okay.
Also what you want to make sure to do is outline your type. So I'm just gonna hit type and create outlines. So that's gonna make the like letters into shapes and it'll be easier to size. But yeah, all right. So now I'm going to make the type in the middle here. What I want the jam. Well, also I learned with packaging is that you want what it is like really big on the packaging. So in this case, I'm doing spiced orange jam. So like, because if people just see a little jar, they're not really going to know what it is. So you want to like really put in their face what what they're looking at.
Hmm.
I'm just going to center line these and all right. So for this font, I'm going to be using Roca, if I can find it, Roca Bold. All
How
right.
do you
So
choose your fonts? Like, what is your process for choosing your fonts? Or do you have like your favorite fonts that you use?
I do have one of my favorite fonts that I'm using for this, but when I'm picking fonts, especially if I'm using them with my illustrations, I try to pick ones that like are similar to my illustration style. So in this case, I like the serifs on these because it kind of matches my illustration style, I guess. Because you wouldn't want to pick something that's really different from like the main like design aspect of your packaging. So in my case, like I feel like the main part is the illustrations. So I kind of want the
Hmm.
fonts to pair nicely with those. All right, so now I have that main part. Um, so now I'm actually gonna copy and paste this just so, because I'm gonna be messing around with this font to make it a little personalized. So I'll have to create outlines on my type. So I'm just gonna put this little uh, type over here just so it's not messed with, if that makes sense.
Yeah. This is
Um,
such a design hack that I've learned recently, like hosting all of these live streams is just every aspect of your design. There's like a copy and paste of it
yeah, no, you don't
somewhere
want to mess it
else.
up. Yeah. Because then
Yeah.
if you mess it up, it's like, oh, I don't have the original anymore.
Just
All
in
right.
case. Yes, love it.
So I'm gonna go do the same thing I did with this and do type and create outlines. All right, so now it's all outlined and all of my letters are basically shapes. And you could see that like they all have like blue little highlighted like outline.
Hmm.
Also right now it's all grouped, so I'm just gonna do Command or Control Shift G to ungroup them. So now I have all the letters like separated.
Cool.
And
And that's so you can manipulate all of them, right?
yeah, exactly. So I try to look at it and I'm like, how can I make this a little more personalized and fun? And the first thing I noticed was this like little cute little like gloopiness on the end of this J. So I was like, oh, I kind of want to use that somewhere else. And I was like, oh, the perfect spot could be like right on this C. Just because it's kind of a little boring right now. So I was like, let's do that. So I'm just going to use the direct selection tool and highlight over. Oh, another thing you should do is whatever is on the background that you don't want to move. make sure you lock all of that. So I'm going to select the jam, the label, and the background and just go to Object and Lock Selection. So now I can mess with this stuff and this stuff isn't gonna move. All right, so, all right, Direct Selection tool, and just kind of like highlight over this little glob. And then you could see that these points are dark blue, whereas these are white. So the dark blue ones are the ones that are selected and the ones that I'm going to be using. So I could also, maybe I'll take these two. And then I'm going to hit copy and paste. All right, so now I have my little gloop and I want to attach it to the C. But what I can do is go to the selection tool and then double click, transform, reflect. So that's going to flip it, and I'm going to do the left to right flip. So hit OK. All right, so now it's in the direction that I want it to go. I'll zoom in a little. All right, so I kind of have like too much of the shape, so I'm just going to go to the direct selection tool, and I actually don't need these, so I'm going to get rid of them. And all right, so I'm going to kind of put it in the spot I want it to go. All right, that looks like it flows kind of nicely, but it's still two different shapes. So I still have the C and then the little globby gloop thing. Also,
Yeah.
I wanted this element specifically because it's a jam. So I was like, oh, like jams are like that kind of consistency. So I thought that would be a perfect little like uh aspect to
Yeah.
the type.
Gloopy is the
Uh,
perfect way to describe it.
yeah,
And
I don't
jam,
know.
I
That's the
guess.
first word that came to mind. Yeah. All right, so I select both of them, and then you're going to want to go to the Pathfinder tool. It's usually on your properties panel over here, but you could also go to Window, and it'll be there. And you want to hit this Click to Unite button. Or wait, no, I did the wrong order. Sorry. All right, so first, what you want to do is make it a little bit more aligned to make it flow a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just kind of move these so it's a little bit cleaner. But you could see it's not like perfect, but all right, so now I'm going to click to unite. All right, well, see the Pathfinder window is not there, so I'm going to go to Window, Pathfinder, and then I'll bring this little window up. All right, so I have both selected. I'm just going to hit the Unite button. All right, so now it's all one shape. So if you click the C, it's all just one thing. But still, I could go back in and like clean this up more. A tool that I've been using like all the time recently is the smooth tool, which, all right, so I have my C clicked, and then I'm gonna go to this little circle with the pencil, and right here, and I double click it, and then you have the smooth tool. So I use this all the time, like for if you have any rough spots, and I think this might even be like a sharp point, but what you're gonna want to do is just click and drag over the path, and you see it like kind of edit it a little bit, just to like smooth it out, and you could do it as many times as you want. Or say I wanted this like a little different, it'll just smooth it out for you basically. So if it was like a sharp point, it just cleans it up. All right,
Nice. It
so
looks good.
thanks. All right, so now I have that all done. And that was just like a little like just making the type a little bit more personalized.
Yeah. You
Um,
explained that very well.
oh, thank
Very
you.
easy to follow. So I
Cool.
love it.
Awesome. All right, I'm just gonna change the color of this. I already have my swatches picked out over here. Again, like that kind of warmer Christmas. So I have this dark orange because it is an orange jam. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. All right, cool. So that's just like the main type that I have. So now I'm gonna get into how to put the illustration on top. I'm gonna do arrange.
In the chat, Jeremy is saying that you're so cute with your elf hat.
Oh, thank you. I know. I was like, I need something festive. I actually had like a bell, but I was like, it's too annoying, so I
It's too
cut it
much.
off. I was like, I'm
And
not
your
doing
tree in
it.
the background, you are
Oh,
ready for
thanks.
holiday week.
Okay, so now I'm going to, oh, I could actually leave these over here. Geez, we're already at half an hour. I'm like, I was not expecting it to go so fast. All right. But I'm just showing like the main aspects of the design, what you can kind of do. So to outline these, I'm going to use the image trace tool. So I'm going to click my illustrations and go to Window, Image Trace. I also found that it's easier to trace when it's on a white background. So the black outline on top of the white is going to be the easiest. So I have the preset here. I'm going to go to Sketched Art, and it already will do it for me, basically. If it was like a little rougher design, I'd probably have to mess with all the advanced settings and things like that, but this cleans it up enough and it takes off the background. And you're also going to want to hit expand. So there you go. And then it makes the outline into a shape. So you can see it has like everything outlined.
Easy
And then,
peasy.
yeah, and then I'm easy to like just drag it in, and it's vectorized. That's really important for design, so you could scale it up and down. So I'm
Hmm.
gonna do the same thing, preset, sketched art. It's going a little slow, and then expand. So now it's both of them are shapes, and you can also edit these now because it'll have the points all around them.
Right. So completely
Um,
customizable now that you've got them all
yeah.
vectorized.
So I'm gonna do arrange, bring to front. All right. Oh, all right. I also like have all my other information here just so it's easy and ready to go. I think that's good, like if you're doing a design to just have everything prepared so you could just like throw it on the design.
Hmm.
All right, so I'm just gonna kind of move these where they should go. And they're kind of big right now, so I'm gonna size them down. But also with illustration is if you're doing line work like this, you're gonna want to scale down all your illustrations at the same time because if I did this one separately, it's going to make the line weight thicker. So you see like this is
Mm.
thinner and this is thicker. So make sure you're like scaling them all your illustrations at the same time to keep the consistency. All right, so I'm
Great
just
pro
gonna
tip.
just kind of throw these. I'm gonna just like put some rulers up, which if you go to view, you could go to the rulers and you just click and drag and it'll bring these little um, bars here. But yeah, all right, so now I kind of know where I'm working within.
Yeah.
Um,
Your guidelines.
yeah, all right. I'm gonna show like how I make these little, I'm trying to think what else I could show that's maybe a little more. Yeah, all right, so I'll work on the buttons. Not buttons, the little like sub content over here. Um, All right, I lied. I'm just kind of like going out of order. I'm trying to think like what's most important. So I'm gonna actually show how to color in these.
Okay,
Um,
yeah. Great.
so yeah. All right, so I have these illustrations and they're already outlined. They're all like vectorized. Before, what I used to do to color in, it was like actually the hardest way to do it. I would use the pen tool and like make a shape around the outline and then put it behind the outline to try to color
Mm.
it in. But this way makes it so much easier to just fill in the color. So I'm going to click my image and go to the live paint bucket, which if you go to the shape builder tool, double click, you'll see the live paint bucket there. And if you use like Microsoft Paint before, it's basically like the paint bucket that you would use in that program. It's just kind of like you just click and it'll fill the shape. So
That feels like such a throwback to me. Like
yeah, it is.
maybe
It's
I
actually
did
so
that
fun. Yeah.
in
It's like
elementary school or
coloring.
something.
All right, so I have this little red. So yeah, you want to hit the live paint bucket, then go to your color, and then it'll just like highlight around what you want to fill in. So I'm just like clicking and it'll fill in the shape for you. I'm gonna do that again for these little cranberries. You see it like highlights
Hmm.
what you're gonna fill in. So I'm just gonna click these. All right, cool. So now I got my red. I'm also going to do the orange. Do, 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 do,
While you fill this
do.
in, what was your favorite thing about going to art school?
Ooh, I think meeting all the people that I met there. Like people say like connection, like you got to make connections and stuff, but I feel like that's such like a professional kind of way to look at it. But really like I just met so many like nice people that like to do what I do. And so that's awesome. And then you just like ask like recently I was asking for like critique from like some old people I met there and it's just really like a really nice community, I think, from
Totally.
like being at college. Yeah.
The best part about having like an art community like that or like Adobe Live is that you really like learn from other people because everyone has a different way of doing things. And it's really nice to get to see new ways that you can do it.
Yeah, definitely.
So these are the
Um,
colors that you grabbed from like your inspiration photos
yeah.
in the beginning, right?
Yep.
Isn't that
Yeah, like I
cool?
said, they're kind of like a little warmer,
Yeah.
not
They go
too
with that
like
like Spice
overpowering.
Jam
Yeah, exactly.
theme.
Yeah. All right. So I'm just keep doing the same thing. See, colors it in. Um, yeah. All right, cool. Oh, I gotta do this little guy.
He's cute. So you drew all of these, yeah?
Yep. Yeah, I
There's-
definitely like it would be the dream to just be able to do illustration as my full-time job, just like illustration all the time. But then I recently was like, oh wait, I could do illustrations within my design work. I was like, oh, that's like the
For sure.
best of both worlds, just being able to do both of them. Because I do like layout and type and stuff like that a lot. So I was like, cool. All right. Then I noticed that with like Jamalot, they have like, you could have images and things like that on your packaging. So I have this image I wanted to include on it. So I'm just gonna kind of throw it here. But I was like, it's boring to just have it like a rectangle. So I'm gonna try to make it a little bit more fun by using a clipping mask to kind of cut it out in a shape. If you go to the rectangle tool and just kind of click and drag and make the kind of shape you want it to be in. I want it to sit at the bottom of this label, but I want the top to be like a pill shaped. So I'm gonna click and then shift click on these little circle guys. Oh, I'm clicking the wrong thing. Get out of here. Click and then drag. So it's not gonna mess with this stuff on the bottom and it's just gonna do the top. All right, so, oh, I'm messing with it again. No. All right, click, click. No. All right, let me
Do you ever feel
mess
like
with this.
Illustrator has a mind of its own?
Oh yeah, definitely. No, I'm always like, or sometimes I just have to like figure stuff out. I'm like,
Yeah,
there's like that's the thing. There's so many different ways to do other things. Like, there's no like one certain way to figure something out.
totally. That's what I love about Adobe Live is like everyone has such a different way of doing it, and I like to see it.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so now I just filled it in with a color so it's easier to see, but you're gonna want to put your image under it and then click both of your image and then the shape you want to kind of like cut out. And go to your properties panel and you could see down here it says make clipping mask. So I'm gonna click that and then there you go. It like kind of cuts it out into the shape that you want it. And you could still edit it. So if you double click, you could kind of just mess with the image, but you see it's still in that shape. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
just make it a little bigger. I kind of don't like those lights in the back because it like blends too much in with the label. So I'm gonna kind of like cut that out.
Oh
Oop.
yeah, I see what you mean. It like is white on white.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just gonna, oh, I don't know,
Did you just find this photo on like Adobe Stock?
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
was just like, I need like cookies
perfect.
and like with some jam. So I was like, oh,
Yeah,
perfect. And it was orange. So I was like, oh, there we go. Um,
nice.
all right, so I'm gonna bring this to the front and fill that branch in because you see I didn't fill the branch in yet, so you're peeking through. So I'm just gonna fix that and color it in. All right, cool. All right, so now we have kind of like a more fun element with the image there. We got our illustrations. Da, 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 da. All right, so I also had these little like sub elements that you want to have on the side because you gotta give more information about what's in the packaging or like if it's gluten free, things like that. So
Hmm.
and also something with design I've noticed is like well for packaging specifically is the label or like what you're working with for composition space like it's really important. Like you only have so much space, so what you include is going to be important. So just make sure the information is important, I guess. So yeah, so like the main stuff would be like gluten free. This is really big. So I'm gonna shrink that down. Um,
In school, did you learn about packaging design and like they taught you like all of the things that you need to put on there?
yeah, well, not
Yeah.
specifically, but when it's like your personal projects, you can really like put whatever you want. But
Yeah.
when you're like actually in like the design world, the copywriters and all would give you like the exact information. But I'm just like making up stuff for this.
No, I feel like it shows that you have a really good understanding of like everything that goes into package design.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. I love watching like YouTube videos about stuff and all, and like trying to figure it out.
Okay,
Um,
so would you keep the while you're doing this, like would you go in and fill in all of those aspects of the illustration that you have down there?
That's the thing. I was thinking about that, but I did try coloring it all in, but I was like, it made it too illustrative, if that makes sense. It was
Hmm.
like too colored in, if that like for design, I like the simplicity of having the line work in there. Well,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
know like for my design, like for my illustration work, my line work is like I think the main thing that's kind of stands out, my line work.
Hmm.
So I think by not coloring everything in, it highlights that in a way. Like
Yeah.
you like when you first look at it, you see the line work. So Um, yeah, I guess that's why I didn't color it in, just because it was too much and like too colorful with everything colored in.
Nice. I like that you stay true to the fact that like the line work is your superpower
Thank you.
and just
Yeah,
really highlight it.
yeah, I didn't realize that until recently. I was like, sorry, I keep saying like, I was just trying to
Don't be sorry.
understand um what what makes my style. And I was like, oh,
hmm
I really like doing line work, so let's try to highlight that a little bit more within the design work.
That's something
Uh,
I love to see about like young artists is as they keep going and creating more and more, you really see their personal style start to develop. It will be really cool. Everyone should follow April so we can follow along with her
oh, thanks.
journey. Maybe Adara can drop your Instagram into the chat so everyone
Yeah,
can
yeah.
go give you a
Oh,
follow.
thanks. All right. So now I'm just making like a little pill shaped. I was like, again, like when you're doing personal projects like this, you kind of do whatever you want. So I was like, oh, this is kind of boring with just the type. So I was like, let's highlight locally sourced. So making a little shape around it kind of makes it a little bit more fun. But also I was like, just the line work doesn't really match this line work. So to make this shape kind of match with this, so now that I have this shape, I'm going to copy and paste it and just put it kind of over here along with it. I'm going to fill it in by swapping the stroke and the fill color over here and send it. Oh, well, first I want to fill this in with a color. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm going to bring this to the front by doing arrange, bring to front. All right, so now you see I have this little like shadow on it. And I was like, oh, that kind of matches with my like shadows that I have here. So now when you look at it as a whole, you think this line work, is like the same line work
hmm
that's happening in the illustration. So I'm
Nice.
just gonna group these to group, you just select your two things and then double click group. So now it's like one thing and I'm gonna send it behind so I get that locally sourced back up there. Also, and like a hack that I figured out. Well, it's not a hack. It's a like a shortcut key. Is doing Command or Control and like the square brackets. So the left one is gonna send it back, and then the right one sends it forward. I do that like all the time. It's so easy to like switch between like the different layers in the order, rather
Mm.
than double clicking and doing like arrange every time. So that
I
makes it
love a
easy.
hotkey
I
tip.
know it's so nice. Yeah.
I think I always laugh because there's a lot of artists that will just like do the hotkey. They're like, okay, and I'm gonna do send this to the back, and I'm like, wait, what did you just do?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Just like so quickly. Yeah.
I love that you explain your hotkeys.
Cool. Thank you.
Cool.
All right. So I have like just like so much stuff, so I'm trying to like think what could be most important. Um, so yeah, I guess we could add the barcode over here. I'll show again what I do with the image trace.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
just show it again. Because I use the image trace like all the time just because um like say I wanted this QR code, rather than like making this QR code again with like rectangles or shapes like that, I could just get rid of this white background super easy by doing
Yeah.
window, image
Gosh,
trace.
can you imagine how long that would take you to
I
recreate
know.
that?
No, it's funny you say that because I actually was like trying to make a pretend barcode and I did like draw every single like rectangle on the barcode.
Oh my gosh.
Because it was just like a too blurry of a picture, so I couldn't do it. But
Where do you
uh
make your barcodes? I have a shameless plug if you don't
I
have
don't
a
even
place.
know actually. Just like a random like QR code generator.
My shameless plug is Adobe Express makes such good ones.
Ooh.
And you can actually download them as a PNG, so it doesn't even have the background. So you can like add them into your designs pretty quickly. So, pro tip, check out Adobe Express. Have you ever used Adobe Express, April?
Yeah, actually we had this well you guys had the Adobe Creative Retreat that came to
Oh
Philadelphia
yeah.
and they were like
Yeah.
showing like a demo that they had there, so that was cool.
Oh yeah. How was the creative retreat?
It was really fun. Yeah, like I met I we had like a dinner thing that I went to and we talked about like AI and just like how Adobe wants like, figure out AI in the future. So I thought that was really cool. And like
Yeah.
I'm the dinner was like a little smaller, so like I got to talk to like people that like do the same stuff I do. So again, like community and like just meeting. And these were like people from other schools that weren't from my college, so it was cool to like meet them and still be from like the Philly area.
Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know what the Creative Retreat is, it's one of the amazing events that our event team puts on, our community event team. Hopefully Adara has the link, and if not, I can drop it into the chat. But we have events all over the country um, that our team puts on, so you can meet other like-minded creatives like yourself. Exactly what April's talking about.
Um, Also a thing with the image trace is sometimes it doesn't immediately take out the background, so you would go to the advanced settings down here and hit ignore color. So then it'll take out the background. That was just like a little thing I forgot to mention. So yeah, I expanded that. But yeah, the creative retreat was awesome. And like Kelsey Slay, who was like the host of pretty much the entire thing, she was awesome. And like I was like, I don't know how you do that in front of like like, and I know she did something else. I was like in front of so many people. I was like, that's crazy.
I know I think she was in the keynote this year in Max or something.
Yeah, I think that's the
The
big one I was
sneaks,
talking
the
about. Yeah.
sneaks. Yeah, she's amazing. I'm gonna drop the link to our events in the chat, everyone, so you can join us at an in-person event. Okay, cool. So we did the image trace for the QR code. If
Yep.
anyone is joining us, we're actually about at the halfway mark, April. So anyone that is joining us, we are working on package design. April has done some beautiful illustrations that you can see on her package design here, the little birdie drawing, and then also the Yuletide food on the packaging design. And then we're just adding all of her design elements into this package design to create a real life mock-up.
All right. Now I'm just like adding like some little elements in. If you want to know, like for like the little tiny elements, a lot of the font that they use a lot in packaging, that like you need like the net weight and things like that is Helvetica. So I'm just gonna use that. But yeah, that was just a little thing thrown there, at the bottom.
April, you said that your dream would be just to like illustrate as for a career. What would be like your dream job? I see you as like a children's book artist. Like I could
That's
so see that
yeah.
for you.
It's funny because that's what I don't know. There's like so many things I could do, and I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I feel like there's so many different paths that I could do. Children's books was definitely one I actually started working on and like trying to get a portfolio together. But now I don't know. Now I'm like, I like the packaging, so I don't know really which I
Yeah,
want to do. But
you're very good at it. So either way.
thanks.
Talk to us a little bit about like the weight of the package design because it's like you have a lot of elements, but it doesn't feel overcrowded in any way. Is there something specific that think about when you think about like weight in your designs?
Um, I guess like for packaging specifically, um, I don't know. Again, like I feel like with my illustration style, I just like it to be a little bit more airy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, that's why I chose this like whiter background. Um, just because I feel like it again, like if it was a darker background, it wouldn't highlight the illustrations as much.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. Really.
Nice.
Yeah, or I don't know, I just like having open space, I guess. Like I don't want it to
Yeah.
be too crowded where it's like kind of confusing to look at, but sometimes that could be done super well with
Yeah.
packaging. I just think for like my kind of style right now, I like it a little bit more like opened up.
Totally. Okay, so what is this little thing you're
Yeah.
making?
This is just another like I feel like my spacing is a little off just because I'm doing it on during the live, but yeah, so I'm just throwing in a little like badge over here. For like concept wise, you have to think of like what is this brand about? So Yuletide, I was trying to think, oh, it's like the Vikings, like back in the day. I don't know if it's pagans or pagans, like they're like the Vikings, like so that's kind of why I chose this font also. It's a little more like Viking-y. And so a big part of that is like back in the day. So I'm just gonna make a little badge here that says like 19. I just made this up again, like I'm just making up stuff. So like 1915 maybe like is when this jam company started, like all the way back then.
Way back in the
Yeah.
day.
The Vikings are probably even like further back than that, but I was just like, I don't
Yeah.
know, this feels like a long time. um, Regular, but yeah, so like you just want to like make sure your concept is strong for the packaging. So
Mhm.
having this little like badge that is in this kind of like, Viking-ish style is a nice little element to add. Just to like, again, like design space is important on packaging. So you want to fill in with like stuff that goes with your concept and like
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm just
It's a
gonna
good
put
way
this.
to think about it. Like not it's not just about the illustration, it's not
Mhm.
just about the design elements, but like pushing them all together using the branding.
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, like I
Nice.
also was gonna put like made in Norway here, just like another like the Nordic, like that was big with the Vikings. Um,
Hmm.
Also a little thing I could show is for like the registered trademark symbol, if you
Oh
don't know
yeah.
how to get that, you just go to, so I made a little type box. You go to type and then insert special character and then symbols. And then it gives you all these different symbols you could use. So you could, if you need a copyright symbol, it'll give you that. But I think for this, I'm doing registered trademark. Then it puts a little art. And
Oh
again,
nice.
yeah, Helvetica is the one that's normally used for this kind of stuff. So yeah, I
Another
have
good hot tip.
create
It's
outline.
I would have gone on to the internet and tried to find
Yeah, yeah. I
that
know.
that
Like, back in
logo.
the day,
So
I would have like tried image tracing like a little symbol, and image
yeah.
trace was like my best friend for that stuff. But I was like, oh, perfect. I would just like type it right in here. And you could also, yeah, by doing it with this, you could do like different fonts or for this little like icon. And they have different
Mm-hmm.
ones like dashes and things like that. Um, but yeah, I could start going into this nutrition sheet
Yeah.
thing and all right. Just let
That
me
would be
know. Yeah.
interesting.
All right.
Like how to make a nutrition sheet look not boring.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like let's see
Uh,
how you make it look pretty, as I'm sure
oh,
you will.
oh, thanks. So I'm going to make this little bar here, and I want to have little rounded corners. Just again, like
Mhm.
I have this pill shape here. I'm gonna use the eyedropper just to get this same outline I have. So I dropped on the outline, and it gives me that same look. And then I'm gonna click, click, shift click these, so it's just selecting these ones rather than those.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, just round it a tiny bit. I'm gonna do 0.11 inches. I think I also wanna, or yeah, all right. And then I'm gonna make another one over here. I was thinking of doing like fun, like not fun stuff, but like nutrition facts. Like I have ingredients, serving suggestions, and like the contact over here. So I'm just gonna type those in. Or actually, I already have them written down since I prepared. So I'm gonna put them, just throw them over here. So now I don't have to rewrite anything, and I can just change the font. I'm gonna bring them to the front by arrange, bring to front. All right, cool. So I'm gonna use the font that I use for these guys over here, which is Europa Bold, and just make them a little smaller. I'm gonna do like that. You see, these are really spaced out. So I'm gonna go to the leading button here and just go down, which it'll kind of squeeze them together a little bit better. That looks pretty good. And just resize this so it kind of all fits. All right, so I'm gonna move these up.
Oh, Robert in the chat is saying that 1475 would be a more accurate date.
That way, yeah, I'm
Way,
never
way
good at
back.
history. Yeah. All right, yeah, yeah. That makes a lot more sense. All right. Let's see. All right, well, this isn't fitting, so I'm going to have to make it a little smaller. Let's see. Also, like, if it was like for an actual thing, you want to make sure you are doing the right size for well, like people who are looking at the packaging. So you don't want it to be like too small that people can't read it. I think
Mhm.
there is like out there on the internet, you could kind of figure out I think they have like list of what like the good size, like when they say like 12 points for like documents and stuff. I think there is like something for packaging out there where you could
Mhm.
just look it up and it'll tell you how big like point size things should be.
Yeah, I wonder, especially for the nutrition facts, like I'm sure you have to have a certain amount of like text that you can see, because for like legal reasons and
No,
FDA
definitely.
stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing with packaging. I that's why I like packaging a lot is because weirdly when it comes to like certain design stuff, I like having like rules and guidelines for things because it kind
Mm-hmm.
of makes it more fun. It's like, oh, I have to make it this size, like having those rules for packaging and stuff, or like certain elements that you need to include in the design. It's like kind of makes it like a puzzle in a way. So
Yeah.
I kind of like doing that. Um, Just gonna move these around. All right, so that's good enough for now. Another like tip I could give is like say I had this really spaced out, or like this guy moved over and I just want to like align them better. You could click them all and just go down here to the align tool and it'll center them and make them all like all together.
Nice.
So, and also like, yeah, if I had this one really far down, another tool you could use is on the align panel. If you go down to distribute objects and then vertically distribute them, it's gonna go by the outer objects you choose. So like if I go here to
Mm.
here, it'll like align this locally sourced to be in the middle more, if that makes sense. So if I,
Jeff, to your point about the rules, Jeff is saying that working with the rules makes creative process much more interesting in a
yeah,
good way. I've never thought about this before, like that rules make it like a puzzle, like you said.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Saying hi to a few more people in the chat. Cade is on Behance, Robert, Oliver. We also have G on YouTube. Hi, everyone. We are live, so if you have any questions for April, feel free to drop them in the chat. We're going through the nutrition facts right now, making them aligned, and I think we're going to change the font and everything too to make it match the branding. But getting towards the end of this package design and getting everything perfect. And April, what font are you going to use for this? Are you going to keep it into that Helvetica or try to get another? Oh, okay, we're having some technical difficulties, so we'll be back in about 30 seconds while we get everything fixed up.
Oh,
Oh, there she is.
oh,
Okay, we're back. Hi,
sorry.
April. No good.
All right,
Perfect.
perfect. All right,
Okay,
so
I was asking if you were going to change the font or keep it as that Helvetica, or what's your
this
thought
one is
process?
actually the Europa one that I was
Okay,
using.
which is the
Yeah, just
Yule
kind of
type.
like, yeah, keeping them all. So, and to just use the same font that I did, I could just use the eyedropper tool and
Okay.
click, and then it'll resize it to the same exact size and the font. So that makes it a lot easier than like having to go back in and fix everything. Um, all right, so I'm just gonna move these in. Megan, do you know how much time we have left? Just wondering.
We have about 15-ish minutes.
15? All right, awesome.
Yep.
All right, well, I guess like since I just want to show the new mockup tool that's there that we have, and I'll go
Yes,
back to this nutrition stuff. I just want to make sure we show that first.
of course.
All right, so I actually did create a version where if it was just like a label on the jar rather than wrapping around the entire jam. So I was like, this kind of looks cute too, having this little label. So you would just click your design. I have it all grouped because you want to make sure it's like one big shape before making the mock-up. So I clicked the little label I have, and then I'm going to click the image as well by shift clicking. I'm actually going to get rid of these rulers first just so it's easier to see. All right, so click the label and then the image, and I'm going to go to Object and Mockup and Create Mockup. So it will look like this mockup tool, I think looks a little bit better when it's on like a flatter image. I
Mm,
believe this tool still kind of is in the beta, so it's
yeah.
assessing the curves, it's still getting used to, but it's awesome. Like, yeah, just like slapping on things. Like that's why I have it in this little label form, like slapping it on there. It like slightly curves it.
Hmm.
And
You
you
can
could
tell the
edit.
difference right
Yeah, yeah.
away.
And also I thought it was fun, like you could if I say I wanted like, oh, this is like the side view of the jam jar rather than it being in front. See how it like nicely like it'll curve right around that jam jar and it recognizes that it is like a cylindrical thing. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. Like if I just wanted to put it like all right, cool. And then yeah, say I wanted to add like the other side of the label over here, just to show like a different angle of it. But yeah, that's how you use the mockup tool. I don't know if I explained that well. So yeah, so you're just gonna click the label, shift click your image that you want it to go onto, and then object and mockup, and it'll say, I think it says make mockup, and then
Yeah.
it just, yeah, just does that.
You explained it perfectly, and it's also super intuitive tool to use. So
No, definitely.
everyone should go try it. I also love how it gives you all of these little options on the side. Like you could see if this is your branding, you could see what it would look like on a bag or on a book or whatever to really showcase what you've done for the brand of this company.
Yep. Alrighty.
Have you tried it with this one that wraps like that?
I
Like the whole
did. Oh,
thing?
it actually it doesn't do it like too bad. I don't know if I could show it. It might take a little while to get set up. I did try it and it just like slightly has
Perfect.
it off on the sides a little bit, but it looks really nice. Like
It
I
looks
think you could
good.
just yeah, you could just like go into Photoshop and clean it up like a little bit, but it does like round it nicely.
Nice.
Just
Maybe
like a
later
little
you can
like
like
tweaks, yeah.
post on your Instagram story or
Yeah, yeah.
something what it looks like so everyone
Yeah,
can see
yeah.
it.
No, actually,
I
I did go into, I do have it right here.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I forgot that it was like down there. But yeah, here's, I did use, yeah, and then I just like kind of tweaked it up to, because before it was just like slightly like sliver off, when I used the
Yeah,
mockup tool. So I just like kind of cleaned it up to push it out a little bit more. But
looks
yeah,
so
you
good.
could see that it like kind of curves these a little bit. Um, and this is a little curved, so it's not like completely just flat right on it.
Isn't that
Um,
so fun to see your creation like come to life like that?
Yeah, it is crazy. And I found like this Christmas background and I was like, so I actually found like a PNG of the jam jar and stuck that on a Christmassy image and they had the counter and I was like, oh, that's perfect. And so it's like a and then yeah, it makes it look like it's in real life. So that was cool.
Yeah, nice.
Um Also, another tool I just randomly thought I could show is like, say I didn't want to use this font, and I was like, oh, I really like this Chobani oat picture, and I like the font that they're using here. There's a new retype tool where you could find
Yes.
fonts similar. So I was like, oh, I like that font, so I want to try to use it. So you just click the image and then the type tool, and go down to retype, and you're gonna hit yeah, match font. And then it's gonna look, and it's just gonna look for fonts that are kind of similar to this one, not exactly this one. So
That
let's
is
see.
this is so cool. This is one of my favorite new tools that we've come out with in the last year or so. Um, it's super fun.
Yeah,
It
no,
did
they
a pretty
showed
good
us,
job.
yeah, they showed us this at the creative retreat, and I was like blown away. I was like, no way, that's like a new tool now. And yeah, you could also, if this was like my work and I needed to say I created outlines of my type, like I was showing earlier, and I was like, oh shoot, I don't remember what that font was. You can use this tool to match the font and it'll find that font from Adobe
Yeah.
fonts. So that's like a good way to just like in case you mess up and didn't copy and paste.
That's a good idea.
But yeah,
Um,
so
since we did that at like the very, very beginning, can you show again how to do that little, what did we call it? Gloopy
oh
thing
yeah.
on one of the
Um
letters?
yeah, on this font. Oh wait,
No,
wait. Oh,
just
you're
on,
saying go back. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, go back to your phone and just show
Yeah,
that a little
definitely.
bit since I'm sure some people have rolled in since then.
All right, so all right, so yeah, so here's the font I was using. I'm gonna just group all of these. I probably could find the layers, but this seems quicker. Oh wait, I forgot I locked this. All right, so I have this. I'm gonna group it, and then all right, so I have my font. You see, like it doesn't tell me what the font is because I outlined it. So I'm just
Yeah,
gonna go to type, retype, and then match font.
cool. So you had manipulated this type a little bit.
Yes,
So
yeah, I already made it into shapes. I couldn't edit it anymore. Um, but here, yeah, so here it is. I noticed it didn't, I think maybe because I edited it, it didn't give me the exact font I used. Instead, it's giving me Jellica, which is super similar, almost the exact same thing. So say you were designing and you're like, oh shoot, I don't remember that font. It's gonna find you the closest one like that. So Jellica medium is gonna be the closest to that. But yeah, so now you know. And then here I'll
perfect.
write. How do I get it? Oh, I could do another. So spiced orange jam.
Oh yeah, it is very similar.
Oh, this is the. Sorry, this is a different font.
Oh,
Jellica, but it's super close. Let's see. Oh, and make this bigger. All right. But you see, it found a font almost exactly like that one.
yeah.
Um, but yeah. So
Is
yeah,
it
that
true?
tool is
I've never
super
tried
cool.
this, but have you tried it with like you can see like what billboards fonts are and stuff? Like you can take a
Yeah,
picture of
yeah.
it and use it. I think that's crazy.
No, I know
Finding
that's
fonts in the
crazy.
wild.
I know, and it's cool that it like even if it's not like it's gonna find from Adobe font. So if it's a font not from there, it's just gonna find something closest to that, which is
Similar.
cool. Yeah.
Nice. So we have about 6 minutes. What else do you want to show the people, the chat,
Um,
what to do?
yeah. I'm trying to think. Hmm. I did make this style guide. I think that's like another super helpful
Oh
way to
yeah.
just make sure. Well, usually you would do this at the end of a project, but I had it prepared for this just so I know like what I'm kind of using. But that's like a really helpful thing. So I'm like, oh, I know my fonts. I have my illustrations here. This is the barcode I made from like just rectangles and piecing them together. Um,
And is
but
this something
yeah.
that you would give to your client after you give them the label? You would also attach the styling guide in case they wanted to do what? Like, why would you give them this styling
Definitely.
guide?
Yeah, like if like so they know what fonts are being used. So say like they don't
Mm,
necessarily or they have like a new graphic designer on their team, then they have this style guide like set so they know they're not clueless about what fonts are being used. Or even like for like really good style guides, they go like really deep into like font like the sizes for like each specific aspect. Well, if it was just this label, like every single thing. So ingredients, you're gonna want to make sure 8 points for these headers, and then it's gonna be 7 point size for these little subheaders. Like it would be
mhm.
very specific about things like that.
Nice.
Um,
Why don't you show us how to manipulate the text again? Like, you know how you added onto the C, maybe add onto like the M or something?
yeah,
Is
yeah,
that
yeah. I actually did have that in my final one. I since these are so close together, I was like, oh, why don't I just like connect these together? Just like
right?
again, like add to that kind of gloopiness. Um,
Perfect.
all right. So also, well, this is a different tool I could actually use, is the pencil tool. So double click on this shape builder thing and see it has these tools where I use the smooth tool. So I'm going to hit the pencil tool and I'm just going to draw over this R and kind of like connect these. And it's not going to be perfect, but you see it's when you click on your shape and then use the pencil tool, it adds onto the shape. So it's not it's already its own thing still. Like if I move this, you see it edited like that. That's an awesome
Hmm.
way to like mess with your type. But um but yeah, I'll show that again actually. So I click my R and then I'm going to go to this pencil tool and just click and drag and draw your shape. And again, it's not going to be perfect, but it doesn't need to be because you could edit it later. So you see
Hmm.
just by doing that, it's going to add on to it. But I want to connect it to this A, so I'm going to do what I did last time and just click and drag, click and drag, and all right. So then I'm going to, again, it's all like wonky right now, but I'm going to clean it up. So you just click and shift click the two letters. And I'm going to unite them with the Pathfinder tool. So now they're all together. But you see, it's like, it's really messy right now. And I'm not going to want it like that. So I'm going to click it again and go back to the smooth tool, which is this like pencil with the little lines on it. And you can just click and drag over this path and it just smooths it right out for you.
Mm,
I
yeah,
use
that's
this like all
nice.
the time for stuff and it's like so easy. And you see now it's like perfectly cleaned up and it just looks like it's all like one smooth thing.
Cute. I love it.
But yeah.
Cool. So in the last couple
Hmm.
minutes, would love to hear if you have any advice because you did just graduate for anyone that's just joining. April graduated how recently? In
In
May?
May, yeah, so like
Wow.
6 months ago. Yeah,
So
7 months
fresh
ago.
out. What advice do you have for other students that are maybe going through the end of their journey at art school or just getting started in the world?
I definitely think it sounds like weird, like it seems like like a random advice, but just do things that you like to do. I noticed that that's where like so much of my inspiration comes for things. Like I made like a camping card game right after I went camping. And like it's just things like I know people have a lot of like a hard time with like self-motivation or finding inspiration for things. But I found that just like doing fun things and things that you like that gives you ideas for doing other things. Like I didn't get into designing again until like 3 months after graduating. I was like kind of in a slump. I was like, didn't really have a lot of motivation. And then like just after camping, I was like, oh, I can make like a card game. And so I think just doing stuff you like to do, that's gonna keep you like in a nice like mindset and like wanting to do stuff and like design. Um, but yeah, that's about, I mean, I think that's my biggest advice because definitely like motivation was a big thing for me after graduating.
Nice. Well, thank you. That's super helpful. And anything else you want to share about what you have going next? Maybe we can flash your Instagram one more
Yeah,
time
yeah.
just to show some of the work that you're doing. I loved the Adobe Live thing that you created for your stream today. Um, so yeah, we can flash your Instagram if you're still sharing your
Yeah.
screen. There we go.
There we are. Yeah. Oh, here's the little Adobe Live thing I made. It's like
Cute. And
Santa.
some other
Everything.
packaging you've worked on too, if you go to the next two.
Oh yeah, here's a chocolate bar I designed. It's based
Cute.
on like the Twilight Zone with these like kind of funky, weird illustrations, like a birthday cake in a womb. Um,
So again, drawing inspiration from things that you like.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's where like I swear that's where the most fun like, and then when you have fun doing it, it's going to make you want to work on it. Like, if you're doing something boring and you don't really want to work on, it, then obviously it's going to be a little hard to get motivation.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly.
but yeah,
Cool.
oh, here's the card game I was working on the camping one I was just talking about.
That's
And I
such a
drew
fun
and I made
idea.
like the branding with like all the yeah, but yeah, it was fun.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, April, for being here today. This was super fun. Everyone go follow April so you can see her final design. Maybe she'll post it on Instagram later. Stick around. We have a ton of really great things coming up today. Maybe we can flash our schedule of all. So up next, we have 3D in photo compositing with our very own evangelist, Howard Pensky. So definitely stick around for that. Also, some other fun community members joining us, Jacob, Wade, Voodoo Val, and Cody. It's going to be a great day. And this is our last day streaming of the entire year. So stick around, say hi to us in the chat, and we'll see you in a bit. Thank you so much, April, and thank you everyone
Yeah,
for
and thank you for
joining.
hosting. Yeah.
Of course, of course. Happy holidays, everyone.